.com. So we had Dan Seals here yesterday, and now we have Elliot, and he's going to have some of the same thing, well, not the same things to say, but some of the same questions that are very important to you. So we'll kind of just get started. Elliot, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, not a problem. It's exciting to have you here.
Thank you.
Now, one of the things that we talked about yesterday with Dan, and I'm sure you also have a very good position on this, is education. You know, with Hispanics, we see it, especially in Waukegan, where I'm from, education is a very, very important thing, especially to me. What do you have to say about education? How do you plan to change that?
Well, I mean, I'll start out by telling you that I have 3 kids that are 4 and under. So education is very, very important to me. And I think the first thing we have to think about is, you know, regardless of whether we're talking about Waukegan or somewhere else in the district, how are we going to compete globally with what's going on around the world? So I think we really need to focus on math and science. I believe we're 18th out of 24th in the industrialized world right now. And we need to start to really focus on innovation so we can compete with countries like China and India. With respect to Waukegan and North Chicago, they're terribly underfunded. There's no doubt about it. I mean, schools in Lake Forest and in the North Shore get double, even more than that, the money per student than schools in Waukegan or North Chicago get. So I think what we need to do is increase funding to Waukegan, to North Chicago. I'd like to see incentives for teachers who come and teach in Waukegan and North Chicago in terms of loan repayment, loan forgiveness, I should say. That's something I would like to see, and I think No Child Left Behind was a failure, an unmitigated failure. I'd like to see that money better spent on resources, investment in children, and what's called a growth assessment model in terms of trying to really determine how a teacher is teaching as opposed to a standardized test, which does not work anywhere, and it doesn't work in Waukegan or North Chicago.
That's true, that's true. Now, with education, if we don't have a proper education, then we also don't have qualified candidates for jobs, which leads me to the next question. For the past year and a half now, the economy has been on a decline. We're waiting to get out of this mess that we're in, if you will. And you know, I come across a lot of Hispanics that are losing their jobs, that are, you know, they're losing their homes, they're losing household income. How do you plan to both, you know, prop up, I guess you will, the economy here locally?
Well, one, I'm a small business owner. I'm a civil rights attorney. I've owned my own law firm since the age of 28. And what I can tell you is the first thing we need to do to help the economy is to help small businesses. Right now, small business owners cannot get a loan. Right now, small business owners' rates with respect to health insurance go up every single year. They skyrocket. And what that does is that causes hard-working Americans to lose their jobs. So the first thing I would do is there's a small business committee in Congress, and I intend to sit on that committee. And they've got wonderful ideas, like allowing small business owners to pool together for health care coverage, changing the depreciation schedules so that we can put more cash in the pockets of small business owners so we can hire more folks in Waukegan and North Chicago and frankly Deerfield and all over. That's the first thing that we need to do. I would also take the TARP money that was returned by the big banks and lend that directly to small businesses so that they could filter that down and hire people to work. And I would give them incentives for hiring people. The other thing that I think we can do in Waukegan is you look at that downtown Waukegan, and to me, it's ready to be developed. And from what I understand from my mother-in-law, who grew up in Waukegan, Waukegan used to be a wonderful, bustling metropolis down there. Let's put money, let's get investors into Waukegan, create jobs by cleaning up the harbor, create jobs by cleaning up the downtown area, which looks like a ghost town right now. Let's bring restaurants, let's bring stores. Let's revitalize that area and get people to invest in downtown Waukegan because you've got the lakeshore right there. So that's what I would like to do to try to stimulate the economy in Waukegan. The other thing that's very important to me is what I call a new energy economy. And a new energy economy essentially is let's create jobs by cleaning up the planet. Wind, solar, high-speed rail, you know, smart grids. We can put people to work doing these sorts of things. We can put people to work weatherizing homes that will save the environment and at the same time create jobs. Those 3 things I think will stimulate the economy and will grow the economy. And we also have to make sure that Waukegan gets its fair share of the stimulus money. And your next representative from the 10th district needs to fight as hard for Waukegan as they do for anywhere else in the district.
Right, right. Now, once we get these jobs, we can put people to work, especially in Waukegan, especially the downtown. It's a beautiful place. I can see it. I can see the vision. Right?
So can I, by the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we get to the point that health insurance, that's been an issue that's been on the news lately. It's something that a lot of people are talking about. It's near and dear to my mom as well. And so that's a question that I pose to you. If we get these people back to work, okay, and they're working, then we have the health insurance issue. A lot of people can't afford health insurance. I had 2 cases this week where people would go to the hospital and obviously the emergency room would take them because they don't have any health insurance. But then what do we do afterwards?
Right.
They're back to the same thing. They can't afford it. They can't pay for it, and there's just another disaster waiting to happen.
Absolutely.
What's your view on that?
Well, there's 54 million uninsured folks right now. That's the estimate. And, people are having to choose between sending their kids to college or paying their medical bills. We've got families that are going bankrupt. Healthcare is a leading cause of bankruptcy right now in the United States, or lack of healthcare, I should say. We need to do something. We need to pass a bill which provides healthcare to hardworking folks that need it. So I was a proponent of the public option. I believed in the public option. I can live, however, right now with the Senate bill, which will insure 31 million more folks. And that's going to bring down everybody's health care costs, everyone's. So I think we need to do that. And then I think we need to attack the problem as well as just the symptoms of the problem. We need to focus on wellness, and we need to focus on prevention. We don't hear enough about wellness and prevention, about getting colonoscopy before you get colon cancer, getting a screening for diabetes before you go into a diabetic coma and spend $10,000, $15,000 on medical bills that you can't pay for. So I would like to see in Waukegan, as well as throughout the entire district, a focus on healthy eating, good food being made available to everybody, and bringing down our health care costs through wellness.
Now, the last question that I have for you, Elliot, and it's kind of a little off topic, but I have to ask it. It's about immigration. That's always been on the minds of people. It's something that's consistent question for me, and I think it's very important just to hear your view on it. And I think we've got 12 million, estimated undocumented people in the United States. What are we going to do about those people? What's the plan?
We need a pragmatic solution to immigration reform, and we need politicians that stop treating undocumented workers in immigration reform like a political football. So I am a strong believer in a comprehensive immigration plan, a path to citizenship that incorporates fines and perhaps a service element, and ultimately puts people on a path to citizenship. There's no other way that we can deal with the problem. There's no other practical way to deal with the problem. We need to bring people in from out of the shadows. We need to have people accounted for, and we need to be an accepting society that does that. I think on top of that, there's some other things. The DREAM Act. To me, there is absolutely no reason why the DREAM Act has not been passed at this point. If a child comes here at 5 years old, goes to school, makes a life for themselves here, has a good moral standing, hasn't been in trouble, wants to go to college or go into the Army, they should get residency. To say we're going to send that child back or outside of the United States is just, it's wrong to me. Finally, we need to provide assistance to Mexico. We need to do something about the conditions that lead people to want to leave their families and their loved ones and their homes to try to risk their lives to come to America. I mean, if someone's living in Mexico with their family, I can't imagine they wake up one day and they say, it's going to be a good time to leave everybody that I love and try to come to America. And you think about all the money we're spending in Afghanistan right now to rebuild Afghanistan. If we could help Mexico and improve the conditions in Mexico, I think that we could at least slow down the immigration problem that we have once we deal with comprehensive immigration. So those three things. I'd like to see the DREAM Act passed. I would like real aid to Mexico that helps improve the conditions there. And I'd like to see comprehensive immigration reform. Securing the borders, I think everybody can agree, is an important part of any sort of immigration reform, but we have to deal with the folks that are here.
There you have it, everybody. This is Elliot Richardson. Make sure you get out to vote February 2nd. And remember, early voting is already open up and through January 28th. Elliot, thank you very much for
Ron.
coming on.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it so much.
Thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Take care.